Okay, hello everybody. Steph Simmons here. Thank you for taking time, whether you're on live with us or if you're joining us later and watching the recording, we welcome you. We have a very special guest tonight. So it's my friend Kelly Hulst. She is a registered pharmacist in North Dakota, and she will explain to you a little bit about what started her in Plexus and got her going with everything and maybe some of the changes she's seen. And then she's going to give us a really cool synopsis of our new sleep. So this is our new gummy, and this is a really cool product. I'll just show you really fast. It's a soft gummy. So, I mean, they smell like berries, and we're going to get the entire scoop from Kelly. So Kelly, welcome. Thank you for being with us.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. What fun. I just feel honored. So thank you. But yeah, my name is Kelly Hulst. Like Steph says, we met for the first time in Hawaii, which is kind of crazy train. But Marla, of course, my upline, speaks very highly of Steph and her entire team. And it's just such a privilege and such a pleasure. I think some of the best part about really digging into the business has been the people, no doubt about that. But yeah, let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I am a registered pharmacist in Grand Forks, North Dakota. I had no desire to be a pharmacist, to be honest with you. I can remember my uncle saying, well, and you have to listen to the Southern drawl that he had, but what are you going to do when you grow up? And I'm kind of like, I really don't know, Uncle Dean. I'm like graduating and getting ready to graduate. And he's like, well, you should be a pharmacist because, he was a pharmacist. So it's like, okay, I like science. I like math. I probably could totally do that. So, you see all these little things where God has planted people along your way and given you role models and all the things. And I see God's footprints all over Plexus now. But when I was first introduced to it, Kelly Carlstead invited me to a party that she was having. And I knew nothing about Plexus. She called me up and she's like, hey, how have you been? I haven't seen you since college. And I'm having this Plexus thing in Grand Forks. And would you like to come? And all I heard was, I'm going to be in Grand Forks. Would you like to come? I didn't know what Plexus was. Honestly, I didn't care what Plexus was. I had no intention of staying for this event. I was going to do a pop in, see how she, was doing and scoot out the back door. That is my full intention. Well, I get to this event and I see, of course, I get there and they've already started because I got out of the pharmacy late, but there's women around this room seated and I recognize it's like, okay, she used to do my grandma's hair for 20 years before my grandma passed away. And that is my neighbor. And she, owns a restaurant that we frequent all the time. So it was kind of crazy. And as these women are getting up, telling their, what I call pleximonies, and all of these things went from very simple things that were getting fixed to very complicated things. And I kept hearing how life-changing this was. And to me, this rose all these red flags because sarcasm is my second language. And I just am thinking, what a crock of crap. How can this be? I'm a trained pharmacist. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life and yada, yada. And I am shamed by even acting that in my head now, but that is the truth. And there was actually a customer of mine at the pharmacy that I hadn't seen forever. And I just assumed she had moved or, changed pharmacies or whatever. But I saw this gal all the time. I bet she was there every week, if not more than once, with kids, sick kids. She had a type 1 daughter, diabetic. And it was kind of crazy seeing her there. And I kept making eye contact with her. And after the event got over, Kelly came over then to me and she said, well, what did you think? And I said, well, honestly, you've captivated my attention because this is totally out of my comfort zone. I don't understand all of it. I was taught in pharmacy school. There was no validity to any of this. That's what we were taught. But I said, you have made me very curious because I know her and I respect her and there's got to be something to it. So she said, well, what are you struggling with? What are some health issues? Well, for me, constipation. That's all I was going to own up to because that has been my forever struggle. And I heard that repeated in these women's stories. So I thought, okay, if it doesn't work for this, I know this is all a farce, but I'm going to give it a shot. So I left that night signing up. To my dismay, right? You go to a Mary Kay party, you have 34 lipsticks, but everybody's buying the same one. And by golly, you're not going to leave the party without it, right? That's how I felt. And I left still feeling like this, I cannot believe that I felt for this. But lo and behold, my products show up. She is in fantastic communication with me, right? She's got to teach me, not only somebody that doesn't know anything about this, but a skeptic that doesn't know anything about this. And she walked me through what it is and what it is not, right? And lo and behold, my number one health issue, what I call my health issue, was solved within probably a week or 10 days. I was going to the bathroom regularly for the first time in I can't even remember. And it was amazing. I mean, and those of you who struggle with that understand what I'm saying. So that really caught me. That was my snag in. But one of my first questions, even before I signed up, was, do I have to share this with anybody? And of course, it's always no. Of course you don't. So I was this happy wholesaler, didn't want to start sharing, but she challenged me to start sharing. And I kept saying no and kept closing the door and kept closing the door. And then I started thinking more about it. And it's like, why, as things started to improve, right? So the constipation issue used to be, right? It's a used to be. And then I would get these pop-up eczema patches every winter that my mom has also. And I just, you rack it up to heredity, right? We hear that all the time. Well, my mom had that, so therefore it's okay. I have that too. They disappeared and I didn't even realize it because it happened so slowly. And I'm cleaning out like our medicine cabinet, throwing away Tylenol I don't take anyway, throwing away all the stuff I don't use anymore. And that steroid cream was there. And it's like, by golly, I have not needed that all season. I cannot believe I went a winter and didn't have these eczema patches. And then when you start racking up these small wins along the way, right? Toenail fungus, that eczema business. I don't have arthritis pain in this joint or this
Recording in
shoulder,
progress.
and if you know me at all, I'm a long distance bicyclist. So that would be a struggle. I would get back from a ride and the first thing I'd be reaching for is Tylenol, not reaching for it anymore. But my point is all these small things start racking up. So I'm starting to understand why these women are saying this is life-changing, right? All these small things that keep changing. Well, when you add all these up, it does become life-changing. So it's all these puzzle pieces are starting to fall into place for me. And I was questioning whether I should start sharing this. And I remember talking to my husband about it. And at the time we had 2 pharmacies, not only one, but 2. And I said, Kelly's really challenging me to do this. And there's no doubt the products work. I get all that, but I just feel it's a real conflict of interest. And Scott said, well, why did you go into pharmacy? Well, other than my Uncle Dean saying I should, but why did you go into pharmacy? And I said, well, to help people, right? Anybody in the medical profession, you hope that's their motivation, whether they're in nursing or doctor or whatever, you hope that's their motivation. And it definitely was mine. And he said, well, why are you wanting to share Plexus? And I said, well, to help people. And he said, well, there you go. Why are you even questioning this anymore? And from him confirming that, it was like, I'm all in. I'm in. I don't know how to do this. I'm uncomfortable doing this. But it was to the point where people would be in the pharmacy that I knew outside of the pharmacy, okay? And they're coming in for their regular refills and things are getting worse, right? I see it all this time, this domino effect of meds. And it's like, man, if I could help you, maybe not get off this med, but like quit increasing your dose of Zoloft every 3 months that I see you, and then adding an anxiety med, and then adding a sleep med because that's causing insomnia and all these things, these domino things. And I found it very gratifying that I was able to help somebody actually get off some of these meds. And that doesn't happen all the time. We know that meds have a definite place in everything. They're a necessary, I won't say evil, but they're absolutely necessary. But I think they've become such first line therapy. And I don't think that is the way it should be anymore. It just hurts my heart that more of this stuff isn't taught in mainstream medicine. I won't get into all that because we know who's funding those schools, but it really is sad to me because I think a lot of the things that Americans or even worldwide people struggle with can be avoided completely if we give our bodies what it's lacking and how God intended it to function. So that's kind of my story on all of that. Does anybody have any questions for me at this point?
Can you just give us your regimen? We would love to hear.
Oh, yeah. Another thing I always said, I'm never going to be one of those people that like take the whole thing, right? I started with the triplex. And I remember when Kelly was telling me all the things she took, and I'm like, yeah, that's never going to be me. Well, I'm here to tell you, between Scott and I, we take almost all the products, but my regimen, considering what I do as a profession, and I counsel people all day on the importance of taking things on it, when they're supposed to and all this thing, I'm the worst at doing it. So for me, even though I know an ideal time to take these products is probably not what I'm doing, I still believe that it's better to get these nutrients in your body rather than skip it. Okay. So for me, I'm basically a twice a day person. I take these in the morning and these at bedtime, and then I fit my pink drink in. But in the morning when I get up, I take, and again, I know it's not ideal, but I take MetaBurn right away. I take Vital Biome right away. I take a vitamin C because I think you should be supplementing with vitamin C. I take a milk thistle for liver support because I am a wine drinker. And I think there's one thing I'm missing. Oh, the X Factor Plus vitamin. So that's my morning routine. And then I get in, some mornings I'm good to get in hydrate, not every morning. And then I take my Slim just sometime during the day. I'm into the microbiome activating now. So I'm not using it for any type of appetite suppression or anything like that. And then at nighttime, because constipation was my issue, I still need to take a pretty good amount of BioCleanse, and I take them all at one time on purpose because that is what keeps me regular. That's not everybody's jam, but for me, it means anywhere between 4 and 6, depending on what I ate that day, because we all know if you eat crappy, right, that stuff is going to probably bind you up a little bit. So anywhere from 4 to 6, and I do take them all at one time. And then I do take that with all my other things. And again, I know that's not ideal. So I would, if you were to ask me if I was coaching you, I'd say take it earlier on an empty stomach, apart from other things, but that's my regimen. And then I also take the Mega X, and I take, well, sometimes I split up my X Factor Plus depending. Now I'm into a hot flash. I'm not having as much, but when I was having them more often, I would kind of space those doses and I'd get better relief from those hot flashes if I take one like in the morning and then the other one in the evening. And then I take my ProBio 5 at night. And again, that is going to range. Generally 3 is where I land. But again, if I've had a holiday weekend of eating or whatever, I will bump it up to 4 for sure. And that's about it. I'm not regular on the active. I use it when I take my bike rides, use the hydrate when I take my bike ride. Oh, the collagen. I put the collagen in my Slim every day. Yeah, I think that's about it. I don't take the Edge. And that's about it. Use the Joyome skincare, all of it. Love all of it. Have noticed
Kelly,
improvements.
we have a question. Do you take Ease or Mega X ever?
Oh, yeah, Mega X, I think I'd mentioned I take at bedtime. Ease, I do take. That is the one I forgot. So I do take that in the morning and again in the evening. And usually it's just 1 and 1, unless I'm having some type of discomfort because I gardened all day or something like that. But 1 and 1. That's it. I've done the reset twice. And we'll probably need to be doing another one after this weekend. But I do like the reset a lot. I get really good benefits from it, even though the weight loss isn't what I'm after. I get a lot of mental clarity from it, and you just do feel better. So I highly encourage doing the reset for anybody who's questioning that.
Wonderful. Thank you. And now the moment we've all been waiting for. Do you want to share some great info on sleep?
I will. I won't give it all away because like I said, I did get that video scheduled, but honestly, when that product was released, I think most of us knew it was coming just from kind of the things that we were seeing. Even when I was signing up for classes and I saw Dr. Hartman was doing one on sleep, and I thought, okay, well, this kind of nails it right here. It's going to be something sleep related, which is a good thing. I think, when I started on the triplex, I did start sleeping much better, but that doesn't always continue, right? With the sleep product, when I was looking into the ingredients, knowing it was melatonin, I was kind of like, I'm kind of disappointed. But then, as always, when I started researching this Tranquil blend, I was kind of blown away. Once again, I don't know why it shocks me every time. I can do this like, it's whatever. And then you start researching the ingredients and you're like, who in the world is putting this stuff together? These people are brilliant. And just looking at statistically, the number, this doctor, I was reading his stuff and he was saying that the number one cause of sleep issues is stress. And when I think about that, it's like, well, of course, because most of us go to bed, we can't turn off our mind. We're still trying to get through the day, right? Trying to figure out what we should have said or what we didn't get done, or, all these things that we have on our list. At least for me personally, that's how it can be. And you can't turn off your mind, and it's all stress related. It's causing stress. You can't relax. And of course, this Tranquil blend, all of it addresses stress, all of it. So it's like, oh my word, this is craziness. And to the bottom of, even getting to like cortisol levels, which is all stress related, and everything is circular. All these things, if we don't sleep well, it affects our mood. If we don't sleep well, it affects weight management. If we don't sleep well, it affects gut health. Sleep is so intrinsically tied to everything else health related, because that rest is super important. So looking into the ingredients in this Tranquil blend blew me away. But then we get to the prebiotic fiber, right? And it's like, okay, leave it to Plexus. They did it with the collagen, leave it to Plexus. Put something in there that is gut related. And isn't that just like Plexus, right? They're the gut health company. They are the original, the OG gut health company for a reason. And I've said this so many times before. I feel if they don't do it better than anybody else, they just don't get in the game until they're ready to do it better. And I think they have really done it better. And even having the gummies rather than another pill, right? And we know that they do capsules for a reason and everything else, because it's less manufacturing stuff, right? We don't need binders, we don't need fillers, we don't need all these things to bind a tablet together in that manufacturing process. But still, people get pill fatigue. Some nights I even get pill fatigue, right? You're taking this handful and it's like, how refreshing. I can just chew this thing. It's delicious. And I sleep like a stinking baby. It is crazy. Now, granted, I did try it in Nashville. It did not help me at all. In fact, and that gave me my attitude again, right? Kind of like, melatonin, should have known. But I get home and wind down from convention. I think like, let all that excitement go and get back to my normal routine, which is still stressful. The melatonin product has been phenomenal for me. I'm just so impressed. But again, with that prebiotic fiber, sneaking it in there, right? It's probably not important to a lot of people, but when you think about it, it's got a long time then sitting there feeding the probiotics that hopefully you've just taken with your Probio 5. So I just think they have knocked it out of the park. And I will give you my little fun fact out of the video too. So when I was looking into this, normally we think of all this stuff as being like plant-based, right? Melatonin is not a plant-based thing, but we can get it from animal sources. However, this product is vegan. Okay, so how does that work? Well, then you look into it and it's like, well, it's synthetic. Well, yeah, it's synthetic for a reason. If you have a melatonin, or if you've taken it in the past and it is sourced from an animal, melatonin viruses will attach to melatonin that are sourced from an animal, and they can be transferred, which is why I would assume Plexus has not gone with an animal source. And that might have even been a cheaper alternative. I honestly have no idea. But again, these little things that I think of as being a little thing is really a big thing. Again, where the stuff is sourced is really important. And once again, Plexus is doing an A1 job, in my opinion. There's just nothing that they miss. So yeah, I'm very impressed. Very impressed.
Wow, I love your fun fact. That is
That's
so
my
cool. I
feedback.
did not know that. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Yes,
I didn't
you're
know
welcome.
that there's an animal source and a synthetic source of
Yeah.
melatonin.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Wow. So what would you recommend for a person who just doesn't have horrible sleep? Do you recommend people starting with half a gummy? Do you recommend a full gummy? What are your thoughts?
I would start with half a gummy. Start with half a gummy. Absolutely. And if you want to go up to a full one, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, your body is producing melatonin already, but what it does, it just regulates our day-night clock, our circadian rhythm. So it's something that you're getting anyway. Your pineal gland is producing it, but still people find benefit from taking more. But if sleep is not your issue, I still think you benefit tremendously from this product just because of the stress related tranquil blend in there, right? And stress ties into everything, Good question.
I have a question. So is it something that you feel like people really should use every single night, or like during seasons or days when, maybe this week is really stressful, so you use it every day this week, but then you maybe take a break from it?
Yep, that's a good question. And, I had a question similar to this, like, does it work like right away? Or is this something that builds up even in your system? And I don't know that. I have not looked into that. It wouldn't surprise me if it would be something that you kind of have to work your way up to get maximum effect, just because the other things are plant-based and that is kind of how it works. But to your question of, intermittent seasons, I think absolutely you could do that. You're going to get benefits, whether it's sleep related or not. I mean, if you're taking it at bedtime, we all sleep, right? So it's not like drowsiness side effect. We don't want that. Of course you want that. You want to be sleeping anyway. But again, if you're duplicating things like the prebiotic fiber, if you're already on the microbiome activating slim and you feel that your gut health is in a pretty good place, meaning you're not having a bunch of symptoms that are gut related, I don't know if it would be something that would be necessary. Does that answer your question? But intermittent, absolutely. Absolutely. And especially times of high stress, I don't think you could ever get enough of something to keep stress levels down just because it's so tied into everything.
Yeah, I can tell a difference. Like I did try it in Nashville as well, and I could tell a difference that night.
Yeah,
like
I know some on my team did too.
I slept better. I still woke up, but when I went right back to sleep and slept more deeply. So it definitely didn't have to build up in my system. It was like instant.
Yeah. Yep. And mine has been that way since I got home. But like I said, I did try it 2 nights in Nashville and it was, but again, I'd been drinking wine that night. And I mean, I know better, right? I know better. So it didn't surprise me so much when I kind of added up all the factors. It's like, well, I didn't really give it a fair shake here either.
So that's so good. And I am looking in the chat and it says, Tina's asking, she'd love to hear about the ashwagandha blend. So
yeah,
you want to talk
about
the
tranquil blend, I have to put on my readers here. So I do have kind of little notes here, but yeah, the ashwagandha, that is an adaptogen by nature. So it is meant to reduce stress. That's what they do. They adapt our body to normalize from stress levels. So that's what's so cool about that. And just having this calming effect. I'm going to pull this off so I can get the details here. And it also, here's another fun fact about the ashwagandha. I didn't get into this because it'd be more like a deep dive on that ingredient itself. It would be more like a supplement Sunday type of episode, but it reduces swelling. So again, that is kind of crazy and a good thing. It's a good thing because again, inflammation is the root to all disease, right? It lowers blood pressure, it stabilizes blood sugars, and it improves immune function. So it's just so fascinating to me how all this stuff is always tied in together. And I think that is, I had never even heard of this product before ever. And, to the product specific and its uses, it does calm the brain and it kind of just turns it down or tunes it down to that activity in our brain. Now, GABA, that is an amino acid naturally produced in our brain. So it's there, it's a neurotransmitter, and it has a critical role in just decreasing our brain activity and our central nervous system as a whole, being a neurotransmitter. So that's how it differs from this adaptogen, the adaptogen in the ashwagandha. Now, the GABA also is directly related to stress, anxiety, depression, mood, sleep problems, and blood pressure again. So, and when you think about that, if you have an increased blood pressure or even pulse rate, that's going to keep you up too. We want to have a decent blood pressure reading to help us relax as well. Now, the L-tryptophan, also an amino acid, this is one that our body does not produce. We have to get it from food sources. So you think of turkey, probably. I know when I heard it right away, turkey, right? But it is found in some protein meats and some vegetables as well. Amino acid, it is a precursor to melatonin, which is nuts. So it goes through that cycle being turned to serotonin and being turned to melatonin. So that hence is why it is improving sleep and then mood and anxiety as well. So just this sense of emotional well-being is, what's tied in with the GABA neurotransmitter. And then the fourth thing, that lemon balm leaf extract comes from the mint family. And if you even look at the picture of it, it looks just like mint. So this has a lot to do with our mood and our cognition. And it also decreases stress and anxiety, of course. It has even been used to decrease pain levels, and it settles your tummy, kind of like mint would as well. So I'm assuming they use it in teas and such like that. So that is that tranquil blend kind of in a nutshell. But if you see the common denominator in all that, it's reducing stress, reducing anxiety, reducing stress, helping calm you. So yeah, which is what we want in this product for sure.
Wow, this is fascinating. And, we talk a lot about how Plexus makes their ingredients, synergistically working together.
Yes.
Each one helps the other one to work
Yes.
even better in the body. And we just love that so much.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have a question right now? If you want to unmute, you can feel free to ask.
Yes, it is vegan. I'm just reading that now that I put my glasses back on, but.
And what ages do you think Kelly should refrain from taking the gummies? Anybody?
I really don't think anybody needs to refrain, to be honest with you. I mean, we sell melatonin in a drop form, even at my pharmacy. So 1 to 2 milligrams is usually for children. So you definitely want to be splitting this thing as a parent. If that is your choice to give it, don't give the full 5 microgram for sure. It'd be 1 to 2 micrograms. So again, start very slow, but there's no reason that you couldn't give this to a child. There's nothing in this product that would be harmful to that population or even the pregnant and breastfeeding population. There's nothing in here that would be harmful. Melatonin is something excreted in natural breast milk, even to help calm your baby, right? You feed him and you want him to sleep then. So yeah, isn't that something? Plexus nailed it. They nailed it, you guys. Be proud.
And I don't know why, and maybe you'll be able to say, but there were a couple of people who commented that when they tested it, they had tried melatonin before and it didn't work. And one other girl said when she tried melatonin, it gave her really weird dreams. So she was really leery, but she tested out the gummies and nothing, it worked, and no dreams, no weird feelings. Everything was just, I don't know if that's that blend that we have in there that makes it better.
That may very well be part of it. I think another big part of that is, where was it sourced from? Where was it sourced from? Even when I started to, get into more of the ingredients in these just for my own benefit, I didn't even understand that. You can come to my pharmacy even, and I've got really stupid cheap vitamins on the shelf, and I've got really good quality, meaning price, more expensive, but I never really understood that there's like top shelf vitamins and low shelf vitamins, just like you go into a liquor store, right? And some are going to be just better. They're sourced better. They are pure. Okay. So that very well may be the melatonin issue too. It's just sourced better for her, for everyone.
Wow.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm Angela. I just joined the chat group. Karen Tunga added me to the chat group. So anyway, I saw your post. But anyway, I just took a gummy a couple of nights ago, but I'm on Zoloft. And I take it at night, and it did not help me sleep. Like, I was up, I could not fall asleep. Does that have to the ingredients? Because I know GABA can affect serotonin. Like, is there anything that would contradict that?
Not that I can think of right off the top of my head.
Okay.
Does it usually, do you take it at bedtime because you get a little bit drowsy from it?
No, I just have
That's
always
your
taken it
normal
at night
time.
so that I remember to take. Like, I started it after I had my last child and for postpartum, and so I just haven't stopped it because I have another difficult child, and I take like Vital Biome and all this stuff, but I took the gummy the other night to try it, and I don't usually have problems sleeping, but I just could not fall asleep, and then I was up for like 45 minutes in the middle of the night, and I was like, okay, this is not what this is supposed to be doing to me. So
No, it's not. I would hope that that was just an anomaly, to be honest with you, and something else was going on. But yeah, I guess that really the only way to try that again would be to try it again. And if it
Yeah.
happens again, you know, that would be pretty fair. Or start slower, just start slower, maybe start with half.
yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go and try because it could have just been too much for me if I don't necessarily, but I just didn't know if there would be anything that would mess with the Zoloft. So that's
I
what I
don't
was.
think so. Mm-mm,
Okay.
mm-mm.
Then I'll give it a shot again.
Give it a shot again. Good question. And feel free to reach out to me on Messenger too. I can look into it more for you. I won't remember your first and last name.
Okay. That's
Feel
fine.
free. Okay.
So Kelly, I know we'll have people asking us, what's the most amount of our gummies that people can comfortably take in a night where you'd say, that's okay, you can take that many?
10 micrograms would be more than enough. I mean, we sell it at the pharmacy and 3 microgram, 5, 7.5, and 10, but I wouldn't go higher than 10. Yeah. There really shouldn't be any need to, you know.
And you said there's no medication that you know of that it's contraindicated for at all. So it's okay for anybody to take, basically.
Yep. Yep. And I can always double check ingredients. Again, if you reach out to me on Messenger, I've got databases I can plug all your meds into and plug in all ingredients too. So don't hesitate. I want to be a resource to everybody.
Wonderful. Any last questions from anyone? Oh, and Tina's wondering, what about people who take prescription sleep aids?
You shouldn't need both. I'd love to see you off prescription sleep aids. Most of them are addictive by nature. And if you look at the package inserts on most of them too, they're indicated for 5 to 7 days of use. And we see people on them for years and years and years. So something else is going on if you're really needing to be taking them that long, in my opinion. And it's probably stress related. And I'd love to see people off those. I just don't think it's healthy to be on them. It's one thing to get through a season. Okay. Death in the family, whatever. I mean, that's the most common that I see friends, you know, starting those. It's for a season, but they're not and shouldn't be used long-term.
Excellent. Oh, that is so good. Well, anybody else? Kim, do you have any more final thoughts? No, we're good. Gosh, Kelly, this has been wonderful.
Thanks.
We thank you so much for joining us, and we will be so excited to check out your YouTube video. You said you're dropping it on Saturday?
Saturday morning. Yep. It'll be out.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
And-
thanks for supporting my channel too, you guys. I
Yes.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, tell everybody how they can find you and what's your MO and what do you do with your product throwdowns?
It is, it's pretty simple. Kelly Hulst. This was another thing. Marla double dog dared me to start a YouTube channel. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. That's never happening. If anything, I've learned to say never, right? I was never going to own a pharmacy. I ended up with 2. I was never going to share Plexus. Now I'm absolutely loving it. But Kelly Hulst is how you will find me. And I've got a number. You'll see my progression in my videos because they started out pretty raw. And they're more like deep dives. So if you see one without a thumbnail picture and stuff, they're like the deep dives on the products themselves and in the ingredients. And then I've started a series called Supplement Sunday. So that's where I would like take ashwagandha on its own and go over ashwagandha and then relate it back to Plexus products that happens to be in. Okay. And then my next series was ingredient throwdown. And that's where I take a Plexus product and just throw down the ingredients. We're not deep diving. We're just going to cover them, but look at big picture benefits from the products. And then my new one is called In the Pink. And In the Pink is just a term that's referenced back that meant wishing somebody optimum health and happiness, which I think was pretty fitting. Scott, my husband, came up with that one. And I'm like, yeah, that totally is perfect. So that's what we're doing now. And we are taking a condition. So sleep, we take sleep and look at what, you know, helps with sleep and then tie it back into Plexus products. So that's how that one rolls. And there's playlists for all of those as well. There's also a series called the Skinny On. And then I would do like the Skinny On ProBio 5, the Skinny On MetaBurn. And it'd be just really short content for somebody that just wants like the lowdown. I just want a big overview of that product. So, and yeah, they're getting better. I've got the equipment now, so I kind of know what I'm doing.
Wonderful. Well, I've watched a lot of yours, and I know a lot of people on here have also
Thanks.
watched them. So we'll be
Thank
looking
you.
forward to Saturday.
Good.
Thank you. And I think what we're going to do is stop the recording, and then we're just going to have Sam share a little bit about what she's going to be doing here. Does that sound good, Kim?